Welcome from the Black and Gold podcast to our weekend review show. Thanks for joining us again on the review show, where we'll look at all the weekend's action from up and down the leagues in Scottish football and look at what lies ahead of us this week. Pete, let's get started. Annan Athletic, how was your weekend in the footballing perspective?
Shite. It's disappointing, isn't it? It ruins your weekend when you're involved with football or you're playing or helping coach. It's no great when you get beat. So, not a lot to be said about it either, to be honest with you. We never had many chances. I don't think it was particularly a 2-0 game, but we just never created that much. And at the end of the day, when you look at the stats, it was a pretty even game.
Yep.
Just they took two of their chances that they got. Aye.
Again, they were obviously bottom of the league before they started, probably in a false position, yes. Because as I said in the Willie Gibson episode, I fancied Arbroath and Inverness probably at the start of the season. Alloa, yes, I fancied them. They're going well at the moment.
They're going well.
It's maybe a false position for Arbroath. They've not found their feet yet. Was it? I'm guessing by saying that there wasn't a lot between the teams in the game.
Not at all.
The wind play a big factor?
It was obviously naturally, it's windy. But I don't think it was a huge factor. A couple of times it swirled or held up when you try to kick into it, or it carried, but on the opposite side, I don't think it was a huge factor. Pitch was sticky, I'll be honest. It was
dry.
Aye, very dry.
Dry and
it felt a wee bit long. Dry and appa, aye. Aye, it was. But Just one of them games.
Just one of them
games, aye. Better forgotten about, I think.
Yeah, I put it behind you, but well, I'm not going to put it behind you yet. I'm going to keep prodding you on it. No, obviously Willie wasn't in the starting lineup, which he has been a mainstay in the team certainly this season and last season. Was that down to injury or?
He never trained. He never trained through the week, so he did. I think he picked up a knock on his calf, so it was probably just precautionary.
Right.
But again, I think we've got pretty. Plenty quality and depth in the squad, and also I think we could we managed, but obviously he has been one of our better players in my opinion.
Yep.
But I like I say he never really trained, so you couldn't expect him to just go straight in. However, big Tommy Goss was back.
Was he?
He was back. He'd been injured. Ill through the week, so it was good to have him back.
Is there many other boys? Paul Smith?
Paul Smith's not that far away.
Right.
They're not that far away, but again, you can do with them.
Yeah, you need them all. Again, your key players, and I think that's something you learn in the lower leagues. Your top players, you struggle without them. You do. You've always got one or two key players in your team, and that's no disrespect to anybody else, but I've certainly felt that the way when you drop down the leagues, you've got these key players, and if you miss them, there's a big impact. Because the squads aren't as big as
totally, and that's the reason you bring them in, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you want them to play.
Yeah. So he's not far away.
They're not. I don't think they're too far away. From what I heard, they were. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they were a couple of weeks away from actually just getting back active, and then maybe 4 weeks away from training, something like that. So it's not a million miles away, but can't come quick
nice
enough.
Boost for the boys. Gavin Riley, local lad, scored against you.
Always scores against us. Always scores again. Again, he's good quality, isn't he, Gav? You know what you're getting.
He's a goal scorer, isn't he? He scored a lot of goals in his career in the
Scottish side. He's done really well, hasn't he? Still going.
31 now, Gav.
I know. Doesn't look it.
No.
Probably looks about 40.
Great lad. So, but he's
probably
a good signing for Arbroath. That when I seen it in the summer, I thought he would bring you goals in that league. Certainly, he's fast. He knows the game.
Knows what the goal is.
Yeah,
it's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's I think that was a good signing from Arbroath. But a shame that he's scored against one of his local clubs again.
I know, absolutely. And then obviously it gives their new managers a bit of confidence going into the next game. Their first game they got a win, so it is what it is. Like say, you move on to the next one, but you want to start looking up. So you're picking points up and moving up the table rather than thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, no again.
It's tight though. We looked at the table before we came on, and you see it from bottom all the way up to top at the moment. Alloa are going well at the top. I think they'll be strong throughout. They've got an experienced team. They're very robust, very solid. But there's nobody running away with it, and there's also nobody getting cut off at the bottom as well.
No, like you say, Arbroath are there, but they're a point below us, and then the 7 from top. So still very close, isn't it? It's still very close. There's a lot of football still to be played, so we can't be too disheartened with it. And like say, we went through a sticky patch last year at the start of the season. It's just every team will go through it. Maybe we're having ours now, and hopefully we come through the other side.
I like that saying. There's a lot of football still to be played. Like a
There
manager
is.
there, isn't you?
Oh.
Hi. Aye, so no, hopefully you can pick up. We'll touch on next weekend's game further on in the show. We'll go on to kind of other results this weekend. One for me was a big one. Was St Mirren beating Hearts. Hearts are on a terrible run at the moment. We'll talk about Stephen Naismith's obviously
got the chop.
Yeah, he's got the chop, the tic tac, as they say.
How do you feel about that, being a close friend of his?
I actually messaged him yesterday. Again, you never want to see anyone lose their job.
Is he wanting a slot?
We'll maybe get him on here, actually. Maybe.
Better chance now.
Yeah, aye. So,
Sub
no,
me for
listen.
him.
Fill his time. No, he's obviously a young manager. He's only been in there last season. He took over. Had a good season last season, really good. But expectations at Hearts are massive. The fans have been really frustrated with what they've seen this season. And listen, I don't put it all down to the manager. I think the players have got to take some responsibility. I watched some of the players. They've got brilliant players in their team. They signed Blair Spittle, who's a brilliant player. I played with him at Dundee United. He's not hit the ground running like he was. For me, he was one of the top players in the league last season for Motherwell. Was fantastic. He's not came in at that standard yet. It's maybe taking a wee bit of time to adjust to a team that's expected to win all the time. So, yeah, Shankland, Lawrence hasn't hit the heights that he did last season. He's not scored all season yet.
You're looking at him to win your games, aren't you? Again, it's a lot of pressure for one
He done
man.
He done it last season.
Done it.
Carried them a lot last season, and I just don't think he's found his form this season. He's having a sticky patch, and that's
You're
ultimately.
copying my sayings.
Oh, I know, but I said it right though.
Sticky patch.
So, Nazy lost his job. So it'll be interesting to see what his thoughts are going forward if he'll go back into management. I'm pretty sure he will. He's only young, so
St Johnstone job there, isn't it?
yeah. And I think if that had maybe it crossed my mind actually, would he jump straight back in? Would he be somebody that St Johnstone would be interested? I'm pretty sure they probably would, but I think it's just a bit too soon. A bit raw. So yeah, other results at the weekend. Again, you look at the League Cup. Aberdeen played Spartans.
Yep.
4-0.
4-0.
Yep. And then again, there was a game that was interesting yesterday. Was the Celtic
Falkirk.
v Falkirk.
They're brilliant.
2-1 until
1-0, 1-1, 2-1.
and then it was 70 minutes and 71 minutes that Celtic scored.
They changed it up.
Aye, they brought in their subs, they brought in their big hitters. They still had a strong team out, but again, what Falkirk did was they pressed them so well. They were really good, high press, high intensity, showed their quality. And yeah, again, it's not so long ago you guys were matching that at Annan.
But again, you know yourself, you kind of raise your game when you're playing against the better teams, don't you? Or there's a better atmosphere in the stadium. I thought we'd done really well against them actually. But
yeah,
again, showing their class against Celtic, that they are up at that. I know it was the League Cup and it's kind of one off, but they've done really well.
Yeah,
really well for a lot of part of the game.
I know they were very, very good.
And they went out with no fear, didn't they? Again, it wasn't like they were just parked the bus and thought, because that's just not the way they play.
No.
Old McGlynn ball, again, they actually have a go.
He'll be one that's been interested. Talking about managerial stuff, St Johnstone are kind of getting linked with John McGlynn.
Are they?
Yeah, so I mean, the job that he's done at Falkirk, there's got to be teams, even Hearts, he's getting mentioned at Hearts now. There's got to be teams out there that take notice of a manager who's done so well. I know Brendan Rodgers went into the change room and congratulated Falkirk. He said it was probably one of the hardest oppositions they've had at Celtic Park this season, which is testament to Falkirk and the way they played. See on the management and sacking down the leagues, do you think managers get more time?
Well, enough time, or more time to or more.
Do you think they get there's more slack cut on them for regards to there's not as much pressure surely because the social media is not as big down the leagues or is it?
I don't know.
You tell me. Clubs do
they expect success and they want success for that long period. So how if you're not giving your manager a chance, how are you going to get it? However, that's not to say the manager's a great fit for that club, whoever it is they're talking about, but they've got to give them some, like a season, unless you get relegated, obviously, but fucking hell, they've had to have a chance to bring in the players that they want and then mould them to the style of play that they want, blend them in with the other players that they've already got. There has to be some form of bedding in period, which you can't just do over a pre-season, I don't think.
No, I agree. And again, you look at Nazy, they've had 6 league games this season, sacked. Mm-hmm. He finished 3rd last year at a canter, an absolute canter. There was no team near him. They had a really good season, and he's obviously not got enough credit in the bank to see him past the 6 games.
So is he just going through a sticky period? A sticky patch? Was it?
Potentially.
It maybe was.
I thought he was going to get the game next weekend. They play Ross County at home, and I thought that would be one that potentially, if he didn't win that, he would have absolutely win. They obviously said that they don't see any progression. That was in their statement. So, yeah, but I think down the leagues, maybe the board don't demand as much, though. Like, do you know what I mean? There's not maybe the expectations. I always look at the teams down the leagues, and the managers don't get sacked that often, I don't think, in the lower leagues. Again, it could be down to finances as well.
Well, that's true. You've not got the payoff to worry about.
Yeah, so
who will be the last? Who will be the last? Obviously, Arbroath will go, but McIntyre, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he obviously left recently. Trying to think, Ian Murray, obviously, after one game of season, which was very controversial at Rafe, and they've still not found their feet. They were 3-1 up at the weekend, and you thought they were going to win the game against Hamilton. Hamilton brought it back to 3-3. So Neil Collins has went in there as manager. Yep. So they've kind of. I felt that was so bizarre when they sacked Ian Murray after one game.
Something else must have been going on.
But there's not. Ian spoke about it. He actually was on BBC at the weekend, and he said,
a liar.
I think he just said that they had said they wanted to go in a different direction. There's been new owners have came in. They've been in for a while, but they obviously didn't bring Ian to the club. Mm-hmm. And I always think that when an owner takes over a club, they always want to get their own man in at one point.
Yeah.
And whether that was just things hadn't been going the way they wanted over pre-season into the first league game, which I think is ridiculous that somebody gets sacked after one game, but I kind of seen that as maybe why they want their own guy in. Mm-hmm. They brought in Neil Collins. So it'll be interesting to see if Rafe can pick up, because they've started really poorly this season compared to last season. So and then looking ahead to this week's midweek game, Rangers.
Malmo.
Yep, that'll be Thursday night. I think it's an early kick-off, actually. I think it's 6:15, I want to say. Or
what's that for a British telly or what?
I don't know. It's away in Sweden, so it'll probably be to suit the schedule. So that'll be a big game for Rangers. Good win for them at the weekend. Mm-hmm. They'll be trying to take some confidence into that game.
Oh, they have to, don't they? I mean, it's they have to. They could do a good run in there, so anything will help. Like I say, they need to. They've been on a decent form of late, haven't they? It's only, 4 out of the last 5, Celtic being the only defeat.
Yep. Celtic one's still damaging, it still floats in the background, and then the whole fans at Tavernier at the stadium after it. Again,
it's just worrying a wee bit, innit?
It is. There's been a lot of. They were back at Ibrox at the weekend against Dundee, so that was a big boost. I know the fans were delighted they were back.
Well, there was a lot of doubt if it was actually going to happen.
I think them just being back there, it's give them. There's no excuses now. They're not playing at Hampden. They've got to win their games. Malmo's a massive game. They want to get off to a flyer in the Europa League new league stage. So it's a big game for them. They played them in 2021.
Beat twice, wasn't it?
Yeah, they got
2-1 both times.
Yeah, so Malmo are well through their season as well.
They're in sitting first place, aren't they, in their league? 24
games they've played so far. So they're bang on form, and
it'll be a good game.
It'll be a tough game, a really tough game. But again, one that Philippe Clement needs to.
They'll be looking to win, though. Let's be honest.
Definitely.
Rangers fans they're expecting to win it.
100%. Big game for them. So that'll be interesting on Thursday. Mm-hmm. Next weekend.
What were you doing at the weekend? Same old.
Same old results show. It was a bit more smooth this week. There was no technical issues, so it was quite a short show because Strictly's back. So our show. Honestly, I didn't realise
the
producer. I was dancing.
Mouldies are studs.
Shave my chest with the V-neck top on. No, listen, the producer says, we're short of the day because Strictly's back and they've got a 2-hour 20-minute slot or something there.
Jesus.
It's a long show, that. Long bit of production, so aye, sweating.
What?
But it was good. It was a good show. There was plenty going on, and
You've really fell into this. You're enjoying it, don't you?
the media stuff, love it. I love it. It's not something, to be honest, I always wanted to get into the media when I was playing. I would always do radio shows for BBC when they did it.
You could see you were distracted when you were playing, to be fair, thinking about kind of that time at Motherwell.
I would think
What am I going to say after the game?
I think folk thought I was holding a fucking microphone in the Motherwell game in one hand. Fuck's sake. It was always, and I would always put myself out there and go and do the media, even when it was difficult. Like, again, the Motherwell situation, you have to speak about.
Good experience.
Listen, there's good times and there's bad times. Yes, it's great going speaking when you've won a cup. That's easy. It's not so good when you've had a stinker and you've cost the team the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to front up and go and speak about it. And again, it's just being honest. Like, everyone makes mistakes in football. So I know I've really enjoyed the media. It's a great thing to get involved in. Great industry.
Good money.
Tell BBC that, man. Do they pay you? No, it's been really good, and you get to meet loads. The thing for me is it keeps me involved in the game.
Aye.
I get to meet loads of guys I played with, get to work with them, get to work with managers.
Because just obviously touching on when you did finish playing, you came to Annan for a little bit, which obviously kept you involved in the game. It's just a different side altogether, isn't it?
It's
tough. It's tough. You don't want to see that side, I don't think.
No, it's hard. Listen, the background of football clubs is difficult because there's a lot of opinions, a lot of different ideas, and yes, some are good, some aren't so good, and maybe I came in with ideas that weren't so good either. That's fine, but again, it's difficult when clubs are sometimes just set in their way a little bit and want to continuously do it the way they're doing it because it's worked for them, so that's fine. But yeah, it can be very frustrating at that side of football.
Like you say, that's sometimes it's a nice way to go, fucking hell, see it. I'd rather do the media, actually.
But the media plays a massive part in football clubs nowadays. Social media, again, things like this podcast lets the fans, gives them an insight to what's happening. You're at the games on Saturday, so it's great that we can touch on you and say, look, this is what...
better not asking me, I don't really... My memory's that bad, I can never...
Doesn't he want to answer the questions?
I sit on the fence all the time.
No, but it's an insight to fans. They want to... Yep. Loads of fans want to know what's happening at the club these days, so it's great that
your children play with Annan.
Yep.
My wee boy plays with Annan, so it's in us, isn't it?
Yeah, and the growth's there. You want the club to grow. We spoke about this before. Want them to go forward, so any support we can give them, then obviously we would give them, definitely. So going on to next weekend, big game, Matt.
Kelty away.
Starting to become big games when you can't find the winning formula.
But again, we spoke
Stop
about
sitting on the fence.
I know. We spoke about it. Fucking, we need a win, Cammy, I'll be honest. However, as we spoke about, you go through sticky patches. Said it right that time. And like I say, every team's going to go through, and whether it's Christmas time when you've got suspensions, injuries, small squads, it's just going to come down to who has the shortest sticky patch and the at the right time, or at the most convenient time, if there's no right time. Because hopefully, like I say, if teams around us can start dropping, say Queens, they drew again.
Yep. So they've not found the rhythm either, to be honest. Again, they've had some good results. I would expect a full-time team to be maybe pushing a little bit further ahead, but it's not as easy as that. There's not as many full-time teams in the league this season.
Year, no.
Obviously, you've got Inverness, you've got Cove and
Snicky.
Queens, who are full-time, but none of them have really took the bull by the
video
horns.
Big Dunk gone mental.
No.
Well, I don't even think it went viral or anything like that. It was just it must have popped up on my feed. It was when I stalked Duncan Ferguson after we met him, my best pals now.
Big Dunk, me and Big Dunk, high five. Slam dunk.
Slam dunking him from behind. There was a thing and he was shouting on, he was about, and he'd run over to volley the water bottles, but then noticed that he was in front of everyone and just stopped.
Did he?
Then he started shouting on.
Still
again,
raging.
But, he's at the sideline, total passion, absolute, fucking loves it. He's a beast of a man, isn't he? That you wouldn't want on top of you.
Oh, what a man. Aye, so Kelty, they had a good start to the season. They've kind of tapered off. They had, again, the result of the weekend was against Alloa, who we spoke about have been very good so far. And we probably, and we probably think Alloa will do well. So a tough game for you guys going up there.
Yes, again, another away game. So if, and it sounds probably shite saying it, but you would take a point. See if you could take a point for every away game and just look after the home games.
Definitely.
I think a point would do as well. I think if we go up and just do it right. But I think they're a decent outfit and all Kelty. You can't overlook any of the teams in our league that just this season. There's none that are a walkover, obviously.
It stares at me looking at all these teams that they're very similar. There's not a lot in them. I think if you have a good game and you play well, you'll win the game. Vice versa, if you're off your game, you've no chance at winning.
There's not, like you say, there's not a huge...
No gap, is there?
Nah. And that's how fine a detail is from 2 or 3 not in their game to 5 or 6 not in their game. So you just have to try and make sure that they're all playing the part, or if we just set up right, or if we've prepared right, or boys are on it. So
yeah, no. Well, good luck to you at the weekend, Pete. Thanks for joining us on the Weekend Review Show on the Black and Gold podcast. Please keep sharing all our content, keep following and liking us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you all soon.